All right, so electric SUVs, right? It seems like that's what everyone's talking about these days, and for good reason. The competition is really heating up.
Yeah, it's incredible to see how fast this technology is moving. Every week, there's something new and exciting.
You're telling me it's like every car company out there is trying to outdo each other with the latest and greatest EV SUV. But today, we're diving deep into two that are really at the top of their game. The Tesla Model Y Juniper and the Xiaomi SU7.
Those are both really fascinating choices, and I'm excited to dive in. I actually hadn't heard of the Juniper version of the Model Y until you sent over those materials.
Yeah, it seems like Tesla is constantly tweaking and refining its models, so I think the Juniper is a pretty recent update. But yeah, our listeners sent in a ton of great research on both of these vehicles, and you know we love a good head-to-head. What really struck me was how these two companies seem to be coming at it from such different philosophies.
They really are. It's like they're working from totally different playbooks, which I think will make this a really interesting comparison.
Absolutely. So where do we even start with something like this?
Well, with cars, you know what they say, right?
Yeah.
First impressions are everything. And that first impression is all about the exterior design.
Makes sense. I mean, think about it. When that new car rolls up to the stoplight, you want heads to turn right.
Exactly. So let's talk looks. The Tesla Model Y Juniper, well, it still looks very much like a Tesla. Sleek, minimalist, almost like it's from the future. Have you seen those lines? It's aerodynamic to the max.
Yeah, and I'm guessing that's not just for show, right? With EVs, aerodynamics is about more than just looking cool.
Oh, absolutely. Those smooth, flowing lines, they're all about reducing drag, which basically means squeezing out every last kilometer of range from that battery.
Yeah.
And range anxiety is a real thing, especially for people who are new to the EV world.
Range anxiety is real. Nobody wants to be stuck on the side of the road with a dead battery, so Tesla's going for that super efficient, long-range approach with the Model Y. What about the Xiaomi SU7? What's their design language like?
Well, if the Model Y is whispering efficiency, the SU7 is rolling up with a boombox. It's going for a bolder, more eye-catching look, a lot more angular and sharp lines. It definitely has a more urban, almost edgy vibe.
Interesting. So not afraid to stand out from the crowd then?
Not at all. And here's something I found really interesting. The SU7 actually incorporates a lot of recycled materials in its construction.
Whoa. Okay, so they're really thinking about sustainability from the get-go.
Exactly. And we're seeing more and more car companies embracing this kind of eco-conscious approach, which I think is fantastic.
For sure. It's not just about how good it looks, it's about how it impacts the planet, too. Okay, so design-wise, we've got the Model Y playing the sleek and efficient card, and the SU7 making a statement with a bolder, more eco-conscious approach. And we haven't even talked performance yet.
And that's where things get really interesting. Because under the hood, these two are packing some serious electric punch. But maybe we should save that for after a quick break. What do you think?
Let's do it. We'll be back in a flash to talk power and performance. Stay tuned. All right, so let's talk power. I'm ready to hear about what these electric beasts can do.
Okay, buckle up, because we're about to dive into the exciting world of electric horsepower and torque.
Oh, I love it when you say torque.
Well, let's start with the Tesla Model Y Juniper. It actually comes in two flavors, the long range and the performance. And that performance model, well, let's just say it lives up to its name.
Okay, so how fast are we talking here? Give me the numbers.
0 to 100 kilometers per hour in a jaw-dropping 3.5 seconds.
Hold on, 3.5 seconds. That's supercar territory.
It is. And for those who like their numbers a little more old school, we're talking 450 horsepower. That's all thanks to not one, but two electric motors.
Wow, that's impressive. But I'm guessing all that power must drain the battery pretty quickly, right?
That's a common misconception about electric cars. You'd think more power equals less range. But Tesla has been working hard on efficiency. They've managed to squeeze some pretty impressive range, even with all that power. And speaking of range, that's something we should probably discuss next, because it's a big deal for anyone thinking of going electric.
Absolutely. Range anxiety is a real thing. Nobody wants to be stranded with a dead battery. So how far can you actually go on a single charge in one of these things?
All right, let's break it down. The Model Y Long Range has a 75 kilowatt-hour battery pack. Think of it like the size of your gas tank, but for electricity.
Okay, so bigger battery, more range.
Exactly. And with the Model Y Long Range, we're talking a real-world driving range of up to 533 kilometers.
533 kilometers? That's like, wow, that's a really long way. That's impressive.
It is. And we can't forget to mention Tesla's supercharger network, which is still way ahead of the competition in terms of charging speed and how many there are.
Yeah, you see those superchargers everywhere these days, so even if you need a quick charge on a longer trip, it shouldn't be too much of a hassle. How long does it take to charge something like that?
With a supercharger, you're looking at 250 kilowatt charging speeds, so 0 to 80% in about 20 minutes.
Wow, you could grab a coffee and be back on the road in no time. Okay, so the Model Y sounds like it's got it all. Performance, range, and charging. What about the Xiaomi SU7? Can it keep up?
It's a contender, for sure. The SU7 has a slightly smaller battery, 70 kilowatt hours to be exact, but it still boasts a pretty respectable estimated range of 500 kilometers.
Okay, so not quite as much as the Tesla, but still nothing to sneeze at. What about charging? Can it keep up with those superchargers?
Well, it does offer 200 kilowatt fast charging, so you can get an 80% charge in about half an hour. Not as fast as the Tesla, but still pretty quick.
True.
One thing I do have to mention, though, is that Xiaomi's charging network isn't quite as extensive yet, especially in certain parts of the world.
Right, that's definitely something to consider, especially for people who frequently take those long road trips. But for everyday driving, 500 kilometers is probably more than enough for most people.
For sure. And here's where the Xiaomi SU7 might actually have a slight advantage: efficiency. Even though it has a smaller battery, it's incredibly efficient. It's kind of like thinking about miles per gallon, but for electricity.
Okay, I like where this is going. So more efficient means it uses less energy, right?
Exactly.
Yep.
And that means you can squeeze even more distance out of that battery charge. Xiaomi has put a lot of emphasis on maximizing efficiency, which is great news for drivers.
Absolutely. All right, so we've got the Model Y with its powerful performance and Tesla's well-established charging network, and the SU7 holding its own with a focus on efficiency and a pretty impressive range. But we haven't even touched on the technology inside these vehicles, and something tells me that's where things get really interesting.
She read my mind. Let's switch gears and talk tech. This is where you can really see those different philosophies play out.
Okay, so we've talked range, we've talked performance, but what about actually being inside these SUVs? From the looks of it, both Tesla and Xiaomi have really gone all out on the in-car technology.
Oh, for sure. These days, it's not just about getting from point A to B. Right, people want that connected experience, that wow factor, and these EVs are definitely not slacking in that department.
No kidding. So let's start with Tesla. They've always been ahead of the game when it comes to tech, so I'm guessing they didn't hold back on the Model Y Juniper.
Not a chance. The first thing that's going to grab your attention is that giant touchscreen, 15 inches. It's basically like having a huge tablet right there on your dashboard.
Yeah, those screens are massive, and that controls, pretty much everything.
You name it, that touchscreen probably controls it. Navigation, music, climate, even adjusting your seat. It's all right there. Tesla's got that whole minimalist design thing going on, and that screen is definitely the star of the show.
It's true, their interiors are super sleek. And speaking of sleek, what about their autopilot system? It's basically a self-driving car, right?
Let's pump the brakes a little on that one.
Yeah.
Not totally self-driving, not just yet, but it's definitely up there when it comes to advanced driver assistance systems. We're talking lane keeping, adaptive cruise control, can even change lanes for you on the highway.
Okay, so it takes some of the stress out of driving, but you still need to be alert and ready to take over if needed.
Exactly. Autopilot is a co-pilot. It's there to assist, not to completely take over. You're still the one in charge. So always got to stay aware and be ready to grab the wheel.
For sure. Okay, so the Model Y is sounding pretty futuristic. What about the Xiaomi SU7? What kind of cool tech does it offer?
Well, it's not quite in autopilot territory yet, at least not at the moment, but it does have a few tricks up its sleeve. For one, it's also got a pretty impressive touchscreen clocking in at 14 inches, so almost as big as the Teslas. But where I think the SU7 really shines is this whole seamless digital ecosystem.
Seamless digital ecosystem. Okay, I like the sound of that, but break it down for me. What does that actually mean for the everyday driver?
Think of it this way. The Xiaomi SU7 is designed to be like an extension of your digital life. It connects seamlessly with all your other Xiaomi devices, your phone, smartwatch, even stuff in your smart home.
Whoa, so I could be driving and adjust my thermostat or check my security cameras at home, all from the car's touchscreen.
That's the idea. And Xiaomi's known for making really affordable, user-friendly tech, so you're getting all this integration at a price point that's pretty hard to beat.
I see, so they're really going for that whole connected lifestyle approach.
Exactly. They want the SU7 to be the hub for your entire digital world, all while you're on the go.
All right, well, that's seriously impressive stuff from both of these brands, but let's face it, we got to talk about the elephant in the room, or should I say, the price tag on the windshield.
Right, the million-dollar question, or, well, in Tesla's case, maybe a little more than $1 million.
Yeah, EVs don't come cheap. So let's break it down. What are we looking at price-wise for the Tesla Model Y Juniper?
So for the long-range version, the starting price is about $52,000.
Okay, so we're already talking a significant investment.
Definitely. And if you want the performance model, you're looking at closer to $58,000. And that's just the starting price, of course. Add in any extras or customizations, and it can climb pretty quickly from there.
Right, options can add up fast. All right, so Xiaomi's known for being a little more budget-friendly. Does that hold true with the SU7?
That's where Xiaomi's strategy comes into play. They're really trying to offer high-end features, but at a price that's more accessible to a wider range of buyers. The SU7 starts at around $40,000.
Okay, so that's a considerable difference right there.
It is thousands of dollars less than the Tesla, which could be a deciding factor for a lot of car buyers.
Absolutely. So there you have it. On one hand, we've got the Tesla Model Y Juniper, the powerhouse with the impressive performance, the cutting-edge tech, but it comes with a premium price tag. And then there's the Xiaomi SU7, the exciting newcomer shaking things up with its affordability, sleek design, and that whole connected lifestyle integration. It's a tough choice.
It really is. Ultimately, I think it boils down to what you're looking for in an SUV and what's important to you as a driver.
If you're after the best of the best, the absolute latest tech, and you don't mind shelling out a bit more to get it, well, the Tesla Model Y Juniper is hard to beat.
Absolutely. But if you're looking for something a little more budget-friendly, something that doesn't skimp on the tech or the style, and you like that idea of your car being a part of your whole digital world, well, then the Xiaomi SU7 is definitely worth a closer look.
Plus, it's exciting to see a company like Xiaomi step into the EV ring. Who knows what kind of innovations they'll bring in the future?
It's a really interesting time in the auto industry. Lots of change, lots of competition, which is great for consumers.
Absolutely. Well, there you have it, folks. Two fantastic electric SUVs, each with its own strengths and unique appeal. The decision is yours. A big shout out to our listener for suggesting this fascinating face-off. Let us know which one you'd choose and why.
And here's something else to ponder. Do you think Tesla can maintain their top dog status in the EV world in the long run? Or will companies like Xiaomi eventually steal the crown? Only time will tell.
That's the beauty of it all. It's constantly evolving. Thanks for joining us for this electrifying deep dive, everyone. Until next time.